Hey there, you're welcome to another tutorial. I'll be showing you how to mix your vocals from scratch in FL Studio. So I recommend you follow this tutorial step by step if you're new to mixing vocals, or even if you have some experience but you want to learn some advanced methods to getting that pro vocal mix. Now there are many ways to do this, but this is my process that's been working for me and my clients. So if you're new, hit the subscribe button down below and let's get started.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaking things we used to do, Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaking things we used to do,
Let's hear the mixed.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaking things we used to do, Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaking things we used to do,
Right, so before I get started with the mix, make sure you get the tempo of your song. My tempo is 96 beats per minute. Now, how you get a tempo is very simple. Just simply double click on the beat or the instrumental of the song, then right click, detect tempo. Now, the tempo depends on the genre of music, but if you're mixing R&B or Afrobeat or dancehall style, of music, usually between 75 to 150. But if you're mixing something like trap, drill, and hip hop, is usually between 100 to 200. Okay, so mine is 100. Mine is 96 beats per minute. But there's also another thing to take note of when you're mixing. There's usually like a little bit of silence right here, so we're going to take it out. So we're going to select all the clips, then come right here to none, and then trim this out. Use your selection to make sure this button here is turned off. It should be grayed out. If not, it's going to stretch your audio. So we'll trim this out, and then we'll listen now. It should hit exactly.
Give me loving.
I'll listen again in other parts.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
So you can hear that click moving continuously, right? So now we have established our tempo. Okay, so that's the first thing. Next thing to do is to link it to the tracks on the mixer. So just click this. You see it's linked automatically. Then we're going to start with the lead vocals, okay, for the mix. And we're going to have that now because we have this part right here is just basically the same artist singing similar patterns, so they can both share the same tracks.
Let me be your lover, mademoiselle. It goes like once upon a time she came in my life.
So they can both share the same track, unless if you have something in mind that you want to do that's unique on that part, but it's just going to be the same for the most part. So I'll link them to the same mixer. We're going to come back to the backup vocals much later, but let's make sure it's mute. And the first thing we want to do when we're mixing vocals is clean up. We need to make sure the vocals are cleaned up. So we're going to come right here. Let's listen to the vocal in solo.
Let me be your lover. Used to do and if I say I miss you.
So we want to remove some background noise. So let's come right here. I use RX Pro voice the noise. It just works automatically. Make sure it's in adaptive mode.
Used to do and if I say I miss you.
And then we also want to remove some breath. RX Pro breath control.
Used to do and if I say I miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same. Me not want to hug you, I just wanna love and fuck you in the.
Let's make it more sensitive.
Used to do and if I say I miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same. Me not want to hug you, I just wanna love and fuck you in different ways, cause nobody do me better. Mad for your matter, scatter my dada, spend on my rubber.
So no, we're going to clean. Obviously, we won't take out all the breath, but it's going to take out a lot of the breath, especially the ones that will push out more when we start applying compression. Another thing they're going to take out is mouth movements. Okay, so let's use RX mouth declick.
Used to do and if I say I miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same. Me not want to hug you.
You don't need to really play with this knobs. You just leave it as it is for the most part. Now, because these plugins do take a lot of CPU power for most people, I recommend at this point you render your audio so that you can keep working on them without these plugins running consistently, because it's going to really slow your mixing process down. Okay, so I'll just simply consolidate. So all I have to do is just come right here and just click consolidate tracks from, or I could just select both, then consolidate tracks from song starts. Just going to consolidate that and then make sure it's 32-bit float for now. Yeah, and then want the resampling quality to be the highest as well. And then we're going to click start. You just be patient for it to consolidate. It's consolidating the second track. Right, so we have our vocals cleaned up and consolidated. Let's delete the old one, so I don't need the old one anymore. So this is consolidated and mixed. So I could just simply delete the effects here, again, to save CPU. Right, so then I just roll this to number 2, roll this to number 2. So now they are back to sharing the same
Do you
track.
ever think of me, girl?
All right, so now after we're done cleaning up the vocals, the next thing we need to do is tune the vocals, okay? And the reason why I don't tune the vocals and consolidate is that I may change my mind on how much tuning I want in the future. So I like having control over my tuning till the end. Some people do print the tuning effect on their vocals. So I'm just going
Do you
to
ever think of
load up Antares auto tune. So the key for this song is F minor. Again, if you can't find the key, use TuneBat, upload your beat on there to tell you the key. Okay, so I'm going to come right here, key F minor. Okay, then for the vocals I'm going to use low mill. Okay, and then I'm going to adjust the retune speed for how much correction I want. Then for the flex tune is going to tell the plugin how natural do you want the vocals to sound. Okay, so this is to how much correction do you want the flex tune, how natural do you want the vocals to sound. Okay, so if you need a lot of correction, you may need to take it all the way up here, and if you need it to sound a lot more natural, you may need to increase it all the way up here. Okay, so you just simply tweak this as you listen. So let me listen while I tweak.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, yeah. And if I say I miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same.
Working really hard, so let's back it up a little bit.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, yeah. And if I say I miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same.
Let's increase the flexing to make it sound more natural, and also increase the humanize to prevent all those shakiness you hear in the vocal. I usually take it to about 100%.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, yeah. And if I
Without auto tune.
do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things
With auto tune.
do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used
So
to
you can hear it sounds more corrected. If you want to increase the correction, you can simply take it up here.
do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, yeah.
Again, let's hear it before.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do,
After.
do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, yeah.
All right, so that is sounding good, but now I still notice a little bit of shakiness in there.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things
Better.
we used to do, yeah.
So that's better. So if you have shakiness when using auto tune, you may need to play with your flex tune and humanize to get that balance, between tuned and that shakiness. Okay, we don't want much of that because it makes it sound robotic. Unless if the artist, for creative reasons, want that in their vocals. Okay, most times I don't like hearing it in songs. Okay, so now we're done tuning the vocal. The next thing I want to do is some EQ, some compress first. Whichever one you want to do works fine. But I'm going to compress first. Okay, so I'm going to come to Fruity Compressor, use a stock compressor. Now you can use almost any compressor to do this, but I like using Fruity stock compressor because it's transparent, it doesn't really color the vocals because I just want it to do the job, compress. And what the reason why we need to compress is that we're trying to control the inconsistency, okay, in the vocals. Because remember, when we listen to it, some parts are loud, some parts are quiet, okay. So now, how do we know how much to compress? Now, there are so many ways to go about this, but one way I recommend is, first of all, take this, halfway, that's your threshold. The threshold is the points that your vocals need to cross before it compresses, okay? Like if it crosses that level, it tries to bring it down so it doesn't sound too loud. And if it falls, too far below that level, it tries to bring it up so that, it doesn't sound too low as well, okay? That's why, it compresses, tries to compress, tries to keep it within that level, okay? So I'll keep it for now at this point. Then the ratio for vocals most times is between, 3 and 4 ratio 1, okay? So I'm going to take mine up to like, let's say, 4 ratio 1, just for about 4.2 ratio 1. So let's hear how it sounds, and the volume may drop. If it does drop, you can increase it with this gain, okay? So let's listen.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, nah, 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 yeah, yeah. And if I say I miss,
now if you listen, the vocals is sounding squashed. Let me solo the beat so you hear.
do you ever think of, do you ever think,
If you hear that, like this way that first word sounds,
do you ever,
that's over compressed. If I turn it off, hear the difference.
do you ever, do you ever, do you ever,
On.
do you ever think of me, girl?
Even when it says think of me, hear how the rush of air becomes exaggerated with the compressor on, off,
Do you ever think of me, girl?
on.
Do you ever think of me, girl?
So when you're compressing, you notice this issue, you need to reduce, your threshold. Okay, that means your threshold is working too hard. So let's listen.
Do you ever think of me?
Reduce the gain.
Do you ever think of me, girl?
Let's turn on the beats because you don't want to do this in solo.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, nah, 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 yeah, yeah. And if I say I miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same. Me no want to hug you, I just wanna love and fuck you in different ways. Cause
Now, if I turn off the compressor, I want you to notice how inconsistent the vocal will sound, especially when it gets to, this point.
do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, nah, nah, nah.
You can hear it gets loud and gets quiet for a while, then gets loud again. But when it's on,
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl. The freaky things we used to do, nah, 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 yeah, yeah.
it sounds even for the most part. Again, don't expect it to be like 100% flat, okay? It's not going to be that way. That would sound very, unnatural. But it's going to be way less dynamic, okay? There'll be less inconsistency in the vocals, okay? And that's what you should look out for. And you want to listen across your mix to make sure that, it's consistent. So let me come here.
Fuck you in different ways, cause nobody do me better. Mad for your matter, scatter my dada, spend on my rubber. Would you let me be your lover, mademoiselle? Oh, oh, oh. It goes like once upon a time, she came in my life, and everything turned brown, you took on a ride, took on a
You see, everything sounded consistent, like, they're on the same level, and that's important when you're mixing. Okay, so now we're basically done, with the basic compression. Now for the attack, now you can make your attack fast, for some people do have it about 6 milliseconds, 7 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds, okay? So that is attack, just simply telling, the compressor, as soon as the vocal comes, spend 10 milliseconds before you attack the vocal or the sound, okay? So 15 should be fine, okay? Especially if it's just starting out. But if you want to have more precision, I do like having mine around 8 milliseconds for the attack.
fuck you in
You may not hear the difference, especially if you're a beginner. So that's why you don't really need to think about that too much for now, at least, okay?
Fuck you in different ways, cause nobody do me better. Mad for your matter, scatter my dada, spend on my rubber. Would you let me be your lover, mademoiselle? Oh, oh.
Right, so now we've done that. So the next thing we can do now is, do basic EQ. So let me load up Fruity Parametric EQ 2. This is one of my favorite equalizers, in any software, really. So now we're trying to take away, unwanted frequency. Like if you listen to the vocal, I'll solo it shortly. But if you listen to the vocal, you can hear, unnecessary low end, like especially when it's pumping out air, like there's some kind of bass in there that we don't want. And also there's some harshness in some words that is pronouncing. Although we'll treat that with a DSR, but we can fix that a little bit with with some EQ. And overall, especially when you use inexpensive mics to record, or you record in some situations, there will tend to be a lot of resonance in your vocals. So we're also going to take that out as well. So we're taking out unwanted low end frequency, some harshness in the vocal, and some resonance. Okay, so we're taking out 3 different things with this EQ. So let me just detach this just so that you have a real-time view of what's going on. So if I press, let me solo this vocal.
Yeah, but think of me,
Okay. When it says think, the air is pumping. Watch how the low frequency here is exaggerated.
Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I think of
so you can see we don't want that frequency in your vocals. Most times we want the vocals to be between about 100 hertz and above. Okay, so I'm going to turn on the beats. Now please do not do this in solo. I only did this in solo so you can hear what's going on. So right click, type, right click high pass, order, right click steep 6. We want to be a bit more gentle, not too steep. Okay, so I'm going to take it to about 80 or 100 hertz for a start. I may take even as high as 130 hertz, but let's listen and see. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. Oh, na, 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 na. Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. Right, so for now, I'm going to leave it at 105 hertz. Again, this can change as we progress. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. So the next one to take out is resonance. Now, how do we find resonance? You want to find the parts that has the most ring. Okay. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. If I solo it, yeah, but think of me, girl. It sounds like it's talking into a bowl. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. You want to find the part that is most consistent with that, issue. That sounds like it's talking into a bowl or a bucket consistently. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you. When you find it, you want to bring it down. But now this is where it gets interesting, okay? We're going to widen the curve a little bit, okay? We're not going to just keep it as a pinch. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, so yeah. It's a bit more widened, okay? So please don't do this in solo again. This is just for you to clearly hear what's going on. Yeah, but then we'll do the same again in this point. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. Oh, na, 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 na. Do you ever think of me, girl? Then we'll bring it down. And then again, we'll widen it up. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. And then we'll do this point. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. Oh, na, 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 na. Then we'll bring it down. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. So now we're done with the resonance. Now for the high end frequency. Just now you have to be careful when you're cutting out high end frequency because it's very easy for the ear to hear, that issue. So if I cut too much, the vocal starts sounding dull. Okay, you just want to cut about between -1 to -3 dB. Okay, so now at this point I'm currently at -3 dB. And how do you know how many dB? If you look at the top left of my screen, the hint panel in FL Studio, you can see how many decibel I've cut. So if I turn off the EQ, let's hear, pay attention to how the vocal sounds. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. Oh, na, 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 na. On. Yeah, but think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. Oh, na, 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 na. Now, that definitely sounds, a lot cleaner, okay? So that's what we're just trying to do with this EQ. Just basic EQ, cleaning up the vocals, okay? So you can see we're solving problems first, okay, before we attempt to do things for vibes or trying to be creative. Fix problems first when you're mixing. Okay, so now we're done with the inconsistency issue. We're done with the tuning issue. We're done with the frequency issue, that is unwanted frequency issues, right? So now we can move on to the next step. We can still hear some sibilances. We can use a DSR to solve that, and we can also use a multi-band compressor to solve that. Okay, so let's listen. Yeah, think of me, girl. Call me chef, I did think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. Oh, na, na. So So let's listen to different parts of the vocal.
Want to have you. I just wanna love and fuck you in different ways, cause nobody do me better. Mad for your matter.
So you see when he says those better, matter, those words with T.
Want to have you. I just wanna love and fuck you in different ways. Mad for your matter. Scatter my dada, spend on my rubber.
So we can solve that, you know, with a de-esser. So let's use this RX Pro DS. And then
mad for your matter. Scatter my dada.
again, you have to be careful how much of this you use, because it can easily make your vocal sound dull. But we can recover all of that that brightness later. But let's listen.
Mad for your matter. Scatter my dada.
Now the frequency you're telling the plugin, you know, at what point should it kind of like cut off or take as the region for the sibilances. So let me take it, you know, a bit higher, maybe to about 3K.
Mad for your matter. Scatter my dada. Spend on my.
Let me relax the threshold.
Mad for your matter. Scatter my dada.
Take it back down.
Mad for your matter. Scatter my dada. Spend on my rubber. Would you let me be your lover, mademoiselle? Oh, 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 oh. She came in my life, and everything turned round. You to corner ride, book on a flight, make loving in my.
It's sounding good. Now let's hear what I sounding so far without the processing.
Mad for your matter, scatter my dada, spend on my rubber. Would you let me be your lover, mademoiselle? Mad for your matter, scatter my dada, spend on my rubber. Would you let me be your lover, mademoiselle? Oh, 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 oh. From the time she came in my life, and everything turned round. You took on a ride, book on a flight, make loving in Miami. Oh, my shawty, make you give me a right door.
Right, so let's continue. Now we're going to use a compressor. We're going to use LA28, just make it, you know, add some shine. To come right here, CLA2A mono, okay, because our mix is mono. And want to just compress, you know, not too heavily, just about, you know, minus 3 dB max of compression, okay. So we need to increase.
From the time she came in my life, and everything turned round. You took on a ride, book on a flight, make loving in Miami. Oh, my shawty, make you give me a right doors, do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie, I'll be your
If
Romeo.
you notice, we can hear some more resonance again. That's where the vocal is sounding boxy or honky. Now for that, I like to use Suits 2 to solve that issue. What I like Suits is that it just works when you drag in, but I do have a favorite preset. So let's hear how it sounds when you just drop it in.
From the time she came in my life, and everything turned round. You took on a ride, book on a flight, make loving in Miami. Oh, my shawty, make you give me a right doors, do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie, I'll be your Romeo, yeah, yeah.
So let's go to the preset. This sounds good, but let's go to the preset. My favorite preset is the honk. This guy right here. I like using this.
From the time she came in my life, and everything turned round. You took on a ride, book on a flight, make loving in Miami. Oh, my shawty, make you give me a right doors, do me nicely.
We hear less of that issue.
Round you took
So from somewhere here,
oh, my shawty, make you give me a right doors.
when it's off,
Oh, my shawty, make you give me a right doors.
when it's on,
Oh, my shawty, make you give me a right doors, do me nicely, on a
so it sounds a little bit cleaner, you know, with less resonance in there, okay? So you can, if you want, maybe you want to exaggerate a little bit more, you can even increase the depth.
Oh, my shawty, make you give me a right doors, do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie, I'll be your Romeo, yeah, yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
Right, so now want to add another layer of compression. I know we're having too many compression, but in most modern mixes these days, the vocal sound a little bit over compressed and, you know, tight. So we're going to use CLA76 here. This is kind of called serial compression. Just, you know, using compression in series. We also have a parallel compression, which we'll also take a look at. Okay, so
Oh, my shawty, make you give me overdose.
This is too much. We're going to try to stay around -3 dB, okay?
Make you give me overdose. Do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie. I'll be your Romeo. Make you give me overdose.
Then reduce.
Make you give me overdose. Do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie. I'll be your Romeo. Yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
Now, if you want the vocals to get, a bit louder than the beats, if you notice they're both on the same level, you can either drop the beats down or you can increase the volume of the vocals from inside the compressor.
Make you give me overdose. Do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie. I'll be your Romeo.
I think this is sounding good for now, so I'm not going to touch that, okay? So the next one to do is add a little bit of sparkle to the vocals. So I'm going to come right here. I like using Fresh Air by Slate Digital. Some people have complained that Slate Digital's Fresh Air is no longer available for free, but if you have Waves, you can use this plugin One Knob Brighter. Yes, One Knob Brighter. It works just as well. You just simply increase the brightness.
Make you give me overdose. Do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie. Make you give me overdose. Do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie. I'll be your Romeo. Yeah.
But I prefer using Slate Digital's Fresh Air because I just have a little bit more control.
Make you give me overdose. Do me nicely, on a love, be my Julie. I'll be your Romeo. Yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be a break for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
So if you notice, when it gets to this part,
there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
it's like the beat kind of swallows the vocal, so we can solve that by using a mid-side EQ on the beat. So we'll come to the beat and we'll use Ozone EQ mid-side, and then we're going to create a little bit of just some depth here so the vocals cut through, okay?
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be a break for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be.
When the plugin is off.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be a break for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be a break for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
So you can hear the vocals sitting, a little bit more on the beats and just, sinking into the beat, okay? So that's just the issue. Again, we're listening out for issues and we're solving them as we go, okay?
There's nothing in this world I
So now we're going to use a third-party EQ again. I like to use Sheps. You can use SSL EQ. Just some EQ to add some character while you're also, solving. I can hear the vocals still having a little bit of pump to it. So let me use SSL 73. Shep 73 EQs. I'm going to do a cut off somewhere around 110 hertz.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't.
Then have a high pass
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't
at 160.
do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be a break for. There's nothing in this world I
can also add some shine in the high end.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't
Just a
do.
little bit. You can see these are just little dials, okay? I'm not increasing it by, crazy numbers. Just a notch here and there.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be a break for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna
Let
spend
me
my.
drop the volume of the beats down a little bit.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be a break for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Wanna spend my time with you. Just wanna be a break for. Yeah. Can you make me realize? Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus Plus the way you dey smile, you dey sweet me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind.
Let me go back to the tuning. Remember, I said I like to come back every now and then with my tuning because I like to fine tune it as I listen. So I feel like it's a tad bit too natural. So I'm going to back off on the flex tune a little bit.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. Yeah.
So now let's create a send to create a parallel comp for our vocal. Parallel comp is just a way to make your vocals, a little bit thicker in the mix. So I'm going to come right here to this, and I'm going to use CLA2A. Let's use CLA3A, okay? You can use CLA2A for this. And then I'm just going to crush it to like -10, -20.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a.
I'm going to blend it with this.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. Yeah. Can you make me
Now the parallel comp.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. Yeah.
You can hear it sounding, more lively with the parallel comp.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you.
Now, there are many ways you can get your vocals to sound thicker. You can even use saturation. You can use parallel compression. You can use, a host of other effects or plugins or even techniques, okay? But again, this is just what I'm hearing from the mix and what I'm using to solve it, okay?
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
I'm going to use a little bit of spreader, a stereo enhancer, to just spread the vocals a little bit. It's sounding a little bit too focused in the middle. So I'm going to be using Fruity Stereo Enhancer. And then I'm just going to expand it a little bit.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I would.
Sounding good. So let's hear it in the verse.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way you dey smile, you dey sweet me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my
Right, so now we're going to add, reverb and delay to the vocals. So let's start with delay. I'm just going to send it in here. I just need a little bit of, echo in the vocals, what most people call echo. So I'm going to come to Fruity Delay 2. And I'm going to use ping pong. I want to move, a little bit to the left and right. And how I use delay, is very simple. The volume is just simply, that is volume under feedback, is simply how loud you want, or how many times you want the echo to repeat. Okay, if I increase it,
do you ever think
you will hear more repetition. And when I reduce this, you hear less repetition.
Do you ever?
You see, it dies out almost immediately, right? So now that is way too loud. So I just want a little bit here. Then this is how loud you hear the effect itself. So if I take it all the way down,
do you ever?
You don't hear any repetition. If I take it up here,
do you ever?
You can hear that. If I reduce it here,
do you ever think?
You hear a little bit more, okay? So now we also want to take this, 100% wet. This part is dry, this part is wet. So we want it to be 100% wet, okay? So
do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl.
Then the timing wants to be around either 2 o'clock or 2 step. If you look at the top left of my screen, it wants to be either 2 step or you want it to be 4 o'clock, okay?
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl.
So if you hear the bounce, I think it sounds better on 4 step. Let me increase the input a little bit so you hear.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl.
But now, how do we stop that repetition? It's very simple. All we have to do is, side chain. So we'll come right here. We can also work on the send as well. So, but let's come right here. Use Fruity Limiter, and then we'll come to comp, and then we'll right click sidechain, come to lead vocals, then reduce the threshold, increase the knee and the ratio. Okay, you also want to adjust the attack. You want to be a fast attack and a really slow release.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, girl.
So whenever the vocal is playing, you won't hear the effects. Let me turn off the beat.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do, nah, 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 yeah, yeah. And if I say I miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm a
So you can see when the vocal is playing, you don't hear much of it.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
So if you want it to, you feel like you want more of that delay to be obvious, you can reduce the effect of the sidechain. It's very easy.
There's nothing in this
So
world.
we can come back to the limiter. We can just simply adjust the ratio and adjust the attack. Let's make the attack slower.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
You can hear more if I increase the knee and make the attack faster.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
You can barely hear anything. So let's make the attack slower and increase the ratio. Decrease the ratio and knee.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you.
Let's hear it with the beat, okay?
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for.
Now with the delay, you don't really need to hear it obviously, right? Unless that's what you want. But if you want to hear, to be very obvious, just come to your delay plugin and increase the input volume.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
So I just want it to be like in the background.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you.
Then I'm going to also use a parametric EQ to give it like that radio voice thing.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time.
When the beat is off.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
You can hear that, happening in the background.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be a pray for. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, just wanna be realized. Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you dey smile, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shorty, yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you.
So we can hear that going on there. So now let's add the reverb. Again, we'll send. And then reverb, send. And then I'm going to just correlate using FabFilters Pro R for the reverb. And then this reverb is very simple. Just open your reverb calculator. I always preach about using reverb calculator. Just go on Google, search any reverb calculator you can find. Then simply impute the tempo. Mine is 96. Then click calculate. Then I'm going to use 39 for the pre-delay and 2.4 or just approximately 2.5 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to use this number right here, 39 and 2.5. So click this. So it's already on 2.5 here. Then 39 is at the bottom. That is the pre-delay. So I'm going to come right here. 39. And then let's listen. I'm going to reduce the send.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you dey smile, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shorty, yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you. This one will be a pray for, yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. eyes. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way you dey smile, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind.
So we have that, sounding crisp and sounding, forward and upfront in our mix, right? We're basically done with the lead vocal. So now let's head into the backup vocal. So I'm going to turn this on.
Realize, say this loving no be lies. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you drop my money. Anything for my shawty.
I'm going to link it to an empty mix. And this is why you have to be careful when you're using delay. If you have a lot of parts that are backed up in the song, having your delay so pronounced can clash with these words that are being stated. That's why my delay is not really, obvious. It's in the background, okay? So I'm going to, first of all, let's also link the second backup vocal, because we're kind of going to work on them, simultaneously. That is at the same time. And then make sure this is selected. And then this is linked.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind.
We're going to tune them, separately. So let's use the auto tune for our lead vocals. Very easy. Just highlight this. Make sure you're here, then highlight both. Then come to your auto tune in your lead vocals. Drag and drop on this guy, and instantly you have your auto tune loaded. So if I come here, you can see auto tune is here. Auto tune is here. So we don't have to waste time trying to find your auto tune setting again.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop.
I'm going to typically spread them in opposite direction because there are two obvious backup vocals. So how wide you go out, I recommend anywhere between 10 to 30-40%. Okay, but if you have more backup vocals, maybe go as high as 50%. All right, so let me go about 20%, about 20-30%, and see how it sounds. Then I'll adjust as I listen.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, this one will be April.
Right, if you notice, vocal is sounding really boomy and unclear. We can easily solve that. Now, instead of applying your EQ and compression and everything all over again, we can do it with a bus by just simply, highlighting each. Then right click, track routing, route selected to this track only. Okay, so now it's routed only to this, and I'll rename it and say backup bus. We have that.
Hey, spicy like curry.
So I can just simply load up Fruity Parametric EQ 2. And now how we mix backup vocal is a little bit different from how we mix lead vocals. Okay, we're going to right click, come to type, come to high pass, order step 8. Okay, we're going to sweep it all the way in, to about 150 to 200 hertz.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty.
So we don't want the vocals to have as much energy or as much power as the backup vocals. That's why we're trying to cut, a lot more meat out of it.
Hey, spicy like curry.
Then we can reduce the volume.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty.
Then we can apply compressor as well, Fruity compressor. Compress the vocals. Again, around 4:1.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, this one will be April.
Now if you notice imbalance in the hearing, like one part is louder and the other, you can simply reduce it from here, okay, or from here, whichever one you hear is is inconsistent, but it sound averagely good. So I'm going to just close this in a little bit.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really
Now I'm going to go to the next step. Again, use suits, remove some resonance. I'm just going to keep it really simple and basic here.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, this one will be April Fool. Yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
And let's use, a third-party compressor to, you know, add more life to it. But we're going to use stereo because this is a bus. Okay, if you are mixing on the bus, use stereo effect. If you're mixing on just one insert, you use a mono effect. Okay, so I'm going to.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty.
We're trying to gauge around -3 dB of gain reduction.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. Hey, spicy like curry.
We're going to reduce overall gain.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. There's nothing in this world I will eat. Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money.
Then let's go again. We're going to use Sheps to do a high pass. Sheps is like one of my favorite EQs. So again, stereo effects. I'm going to engage the high pass, then take it to 160. Then cut this as well.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do when I spend my time with you. This one will be April Fool. Yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do when I spend my time with you. This one will be April Fool. Yeah. Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaky things we used to do. And if I say I miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same. We don't want to hug you. I just wanna love and fuck you in different ways, cause nobody do me better. Mad for your matter. Scat on my dada, spend on my rubber.
That's sounding good. So now let's add some brightness to the backup vocals because it's sounding too dull. So let's come to fresh air again, my weapon of choice.
Hey, spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shawty. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do when I spend my time with you. This one will be April Fool. Yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do when I spend my time with you.
So this is sounding pretty good. Let's listen to other parts to just make sure it's consistent.
She came in my life, and everything turned round. You to call no ride, book on a flight, make loving in Miami. Oh my, Charlie, show love, make you give me a bad doors, do me nicely. On a low, be my Julie, I'll be your Romeo. Yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do when I spend my time with you. This one will be April Fool.
Right, so now we're going to add some reverb now. Now for backup vocals, I don't really like using reverb sends. I like using the reverb directly on the backup vocal, but you can also use a send if you want to have more control. So I'm just going to load up the reverb directly on here. Fruity Pro R. So again, I just pull up my reverb calculator and the big room. Let me use maybe the hall this time, 4.9. Okay, and pre-delay 78. So let's come here, 4.9. If I don't like it, I'll try the big room instead of the hall. All right, and then I think this was 78. Let me check to be sure. Yep, 78. So let's listen, and then you want to adjust the mix.
She came in my life, and everything turned round. You to call no ride. Everything turned round. You to call no ride. Book on a flight, make loving in Miami. Oh my, Charlie, show love, make you give me a bad doors, do me nicely. On a low, be my Julie, I'll be your Romeo. Yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do when I spend my time with you. This one will be April Fool. disguise when I look into your eyes. All I see is paradise. Plus the way where you dey smile, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shorty, yeah.
I think the reverb is a little bit too much. Let me open the plugin and cut some high end. It's a little bit too harsh on the high end.
Everything turn brown, you to call no right. This mine, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shorty, yeah. This mine, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shorty, yeah.
Sounds good. So you have to be careful when you're cutting out, that high-end information within the reverb, because if you cut out too much, the reverb will sound dull and it won't even have that reverb feel anymore. So you have to be very careful when you're doing that. Okay, so I think the mix is sounding good now.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaking things we used to do, Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaking things we used to do, yeah.
Let's hear the mixed.
Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaking things we used to do, Do you ever think of me, girl? Call me chef, I didn't think of you, yeah. The freaking things we used to do,
So before you master, it's important that you have, a well-mixed song. Okay, now hear this song, for example. Let's listen to any random parts. This is the mixed.
Miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same.
This is the unmixed.
Miss you, like when I say I need you, I'm hoping that you feel the same. You know, want to hug you.
You can hear how inconsistent it is, right? So if we're to even, listening out for more of your parts.
Say this loving no be lies. Want an angel in disguise when I look into your eyes. All I see is paradise. Plus the way where you dey smile, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind, make you chop my money. Anything for my shorty, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds unmixed. Then this is the mixed.
Say this loving no be lies. Want an angel in disguise when I look into your eyes. All I see is paradise. Plus the way where you dey smile, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shorty, yeah.
So you can already hear there's a difference from the mixed and the unmixed. So let's start with mastering. Okay, we're only going to master the mixed, not the unmixed. I only brought in the unmixed for you to hear how how it sounds when it's not mixed properly, right? It's going to sound unclear, unbalanced, right? All those issues, even have inconsistency with the vocals. So make sure your mix is well done before you master. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on, link it to an empty insert. Now you can master in a different channel, in a different project file, but I'm just mastering this in this mixing session just so that you get a full grip on everything. Okay, so the first thing I typically do when I'm mastering is I make sure there's no effects on my mastering bus. Okay, then I come to the linked track for my mixed audio. Then I come right here and load up Fruity parametric EQ 2. Yes, I'm always using Fruity EQ. Then first I have to do is make sure I remove some unnecessary low end, which is around like 20 to about 35 hertz. So I come right here, type high pass order. Then I use a very not too steep, like just something like this, right? Just a gentle curve so that doesn't create pump or phasing issues, right? So I just take this to about 30 hertz.
Say this loving no be lies.
So make sure that the low end is clear and we can push out more headroom, okay? Because in mastering, if you want more loudness, most times you have to sacrifice a little bit of bass, okay? So we need more headrooms.
Say this loving no be lies. Want an angel in disguise when I look into your eyes. All I see is paradise.
And if you think the mixing is too sharp, you can, make it a little bit dull here. Or if you think it's too dull, you can make it a little bit bright here. It's all up to you at this point. Yes, so I'm going to make it a little bit dull here.
Say this loving no be lies. Want an angel in disguise when I look into your eyes. All I see is paradise.
Now, compression is not 100% necessary in mastering, but I like to add, a little bit of compression just to glue things together. So, and I like using CLA 7.6 because it's a little bit gentle. Okay, it's not as aggressive as CLA 2A. So I'm going to use this.
Say this loving no be lies.
it's too much. It's killing the transients in the drums. So I'm going to relax it. So like -1, -2 dB.
Say this love be lies. Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you they smile, it is with me for my. Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your
Somewhere around here.
eyes, all I see is paradise.
We can increase the output a little bit.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your
without it.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is.
It may not sound like much is going on, but it has a little bit of character, just a little bit of detail to it. But again, that is optional. So the next thing I like to add to my mastering is a little bit of saturation. So I like to use Slate Digital's virtual tape machine. So it's a very easy to use saturation machine. If you want more bass, simply pump it up like this, and if you want less, just bring it down like this. So I don't want as much bass.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you they smile, it is with me for my body. Hey, say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you they smile, it is with me for my body.
When it's on, you can hear the drum sounding a bit more forward and a bit more, heavy, okay? And when it's off, you can hear the mix sound like it's falling back or falling flat. So that's why I like using this. It makes the mix pop a little bit more, especially on smaller speakers.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise.
So I may come back and adjust this, but for now that's fine. And then the next thing I like to add, I don't like to do too much on my mastering. You can use a stereo enhancer to spread out your elements a little bit more, but I prefer to do that in the mix. So I just head on straight to using a limiter, and I like to use, or rather a maximizer. I like to use Isotopes maximizer for that. And before I do anything, I also have my loudness meter, Yulin loudness meter. This plugin is absolutely free. You can get it to monitor the loudness of your master. We typically want to gauge between -8 to -10 LUFS integrated. I also want to gauge for between around -1 dB in short term, or true peak max. Okay, so let's detach this so we can have real-time monitoring while we use the maximizer. Also detach this because we'll be going back and forth between both of them. Make sure your loudness meter comes last and your maximizer comes just before your loudness meter. Okay, so I'm going to come right here, then drag the threshold down. The lower you bring it, the louder the sound.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in this.
And here, that is too much. It's crushing the songs. I'm going to take it back up a little bit.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you they smile, it is.
Now, for the ceiling is just basically trying to limit, how much peaks or how many peaks you have. So I'm going to bring this down to control my peaks.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you they smile, it is with me for my body.
So let me clear this and we see. Always reset this so that you get, the most accurate and current information.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise.
So you can see we currently have -11 and -0.8. So we need to work on this to get to around -10. And although this is fine, but we can get it closer to -1. So
say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you they smile, it is with me for my body. Hey, you spicy like curry, and I really know. Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way where you they smile, it is with me for my body. Hey, you spicy like curry, and I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my shorty, yeah. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. When I spend my time with you, this one will be April Fool.
You can see now we're having -9.6 and we have -1.0 dB. So this is it's a decent master.
Say this loving no be lies. What an angel in disguise. When I look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way you dey smile, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my money. Anything for my
Turn off the effects.
say this loving no be lies.
Obviously, it won't be as loud.
Angel in disguise.
I turn it
When I
on.
look into your eyes, all I see is paradise. Plus the way you dey smile, it is with me for my body. Can you spicy like curry? And I really no go mind if you chop my money.
Now, occasionally, these numbers may change. May go a little bit above or beyond, above or below the number that I said, but most times it should be within the range -8 to -10 LUFS here, and somewhere around -1 dB here. It may go a little bit above or below sometimes. That's fine, but it should just be within consistently. Now we have our song fully mixed and mastered. Now we have to export it and have it ready for streaming platforms. We come to export, and then we come to wave. Okay, then you choose wherever you normally save your audio, and then make sure you change this to 24 bits, because most streaming platforms take 24 16 or 24 bits, but 24 bits is higher quality. So I have it on 24 bits, and then make sure it's on wave. Make sure your insert effect is on. Obviously this doesn't mean because you don't have any effect on your master, so we'll leave this on. And then you just simply click start, and it's going to render your master, and then you can upload the wave file to streaming platforms, not the mp3. Okay, so some things you should know about mixing and mastering is, first of all, make sure you have a reference track. Because of copyright issues, I cannot have a reference track inside here, but the reference tracks are typically other songs that have similar vibes to this. I'll listen to hear the mix sounds, like how is the vocal sound in relation to the drums, to the melodies, to try and gain, to try and gauge the ideal loudness of vocals to beats. Okay, knowing how much reverb I need to add, how much delay I need to add, and how much shine I need to add to the vocals and all of that stuff. Okay, so reference tracks do help you save time on knowing how much of that to use. And also make sure when you listen, try to listen for problems. Do not just go at it in one swoop. Listen out for problems. Start with the problems before you start adding other forms of techniques or spicing things up. And also another thing again with mixing is trying to do everything in one step. Take a break, come back with fresh ears, and listen again for problems. Like this mix, this is actually not the final version. I'm still going to come back to it, listen again for issues. Always be one or two issues or one or two things you forgot to do or forgot to tweak properly. Your ears will be fresh enough then to catch it. So you always want to take note of that. And lastly, with your mastering, try to listen to, even though that loudness meter helped us out, you also want to listen out for clipping, distortion on different speakers, on different playback devices before you send it out or upload on streaming platforms. Okay, now like I said, this is my process. This is by no means law in mixing. This is just my process that I use, and I hope it will be of help to you in your own process, when you're trying to mix vocals in Afrobeat or R&B or similar genres of music. So if you found this helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more tutorials, tips, and tricks. Cheers.